Nice to have tea here. Excellent. Yeah. Kids are good. This morning she's like, I feel better. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm pretty sure it's allergies. The only symptom she had was a runny nose, and it was constant runny nose. My husband said he used to get that with his allergies, and he had years of shots. Wow. So I'm like, great. So how's the dog? Good. He had a rough time too with last week. You know, yeah, Monday. I think he rolled in something over the weekend too. I kind of got it up in his ear, so I had to put his ear out. I'm like, oh, don't roll it. You never get that connection, do they? Right. That's right. That's right. They don't. How's your mom doing? She's doing good, actually. You know, she's had a good week. Excellent. I'm thinking about you know, what I would do. Yeah, they're not going to get better. Yeah, think about, you know, how you're where the world it's the weirdest position because you don't know what to say. So I want to do all the right things. Yeah, to try to make these days as memorable as possible. You know, just me. Yeah. So, your daughter will be here. Yes, sir.
I got into the meeting.
Are you doing what school on all three days? I mean,
I missed the first couple minutes.
Yes. About three on the back.
Right.
They did not. I'm assuming.
Actually, I don't think that. I was just.
Yeah. Well, that's
Even though it depends who you talk to.
right.
Some say we should do that.
If you spend money, if it has bills in it, you're supposed to do it. That's why you do text and consent. Because the bills are in there.
Right.
Really?
Yeah, they claim that.
Absolutely. So we're perfectly capable of speaking for ourselves. I didn't bring my glasses. I'll have to make it up. It's nice to have this much excitement in the room. Yeah. Yeah, you saw this in it. Suck it right out. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. We'll call this meeting of the Delta Township Board to order. Both board members and guests, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Trustee Bowen.
Here.
Trustee Brewer. Present. Trustee Cascarilla.
Present.
Trustee Mojica.
Here.
Treasurer Fedowa.
Here.
Clerk Clark is present. Supervisor Fletcher.
Here.
You have quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And we'll begin this evening with a special presentation. On a little bit. Well, we have the distinct honor this evening to issue a special resolution and tribute to the Great Lakes Christian College women's soccer team who won the national championship this year. And that is something for their division, and that is something that is just tremendous. I know I always, as the supervisor, take great pride in the fact that we have Great Lakes Christian College located here in our township. It kind of gives us a little bit of bragging rights that we have a four-year college right here in our community. And I know it's something that we feel that Great Lakes Christian College contributes so much to that community. I know back years ago when we were discussing, pathways and sidewalks to try to make sure we could connect the college to Saginaw, to connect the students to different entertainment and other things, that was a key priority to make sure that we had that connectivity for the college. And to now have you guys get this national recognition for your performance in the athletics, and to have the women's team win a state or national, championship, just brings another tremendous bonus, both to the college itself. I'm sure it's going to really help with their recruitment and everything moving forward, but to help draw students to the school, but it also brings great, tremendous honor to Delta Township as well. So we're so pleased that you're able to come and join us this evening to receive this tribute. I do want to recognize that we do have with us Larry Carter, the president of the university. So thank you so much for coming here this evening. And Phil Beavers is somebody that I know those of us on the board see Phil at a lot of community events and a lot of meetings and everything. And he's such a great part of our community and so plugged into everything that goes on here. That's fantastic. So I'm going to read this tribute, but I know there's a lot of you here. I don't know if you folks want to come up and stand behind me to present it. If the coaches or the team captain wants to come forward, whatever you guys want to do, you're certainly welcome to come up with here. But I will read and move this tribute, and then I'll present it. You'll get a good photo.
Ken, why did they go in the center here? Won't you push that out just a tiny bit? We'll give a little more room behind you, maybe. This-
Packings back there.
Even the seniors.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a flag.
Thank you. You're welcome.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's my room.
Settled in.
There you go.
Well, the resolution that we have reads, the Charter Township of Delta recognizes Great Lakes Christian College women's soccer team. Whereas on November 20th, 2021, the Great Lakes Christian College Crusaders women's soccer team defeated the Arlington Baptist University Patriots at the Austin Trindale Sports Complex in Kissimmee, Florida by a score of 2-1 in the 2021 National Christian College Athletic Association Division II National Championship game. Whereas the Crusaders should be commended for their success and perseverance throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. And whereas the Crusaders overcame the adversity of the season, finishing with a record of 13 wins, 4 losses, and 1 tie. Whereas in just 2 seasons, the Crusaders' dedication, hard work, and perseverance has earned them their first NCCAA Division II National Championship. Whereas the entire Crusaders women roster and the soccer coach staff contributed to the victory. Whereas the Crusaders National Championship provides a sense of excitement and pride to the Delta Township community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that on this 13th day of December, 2021, the Delta Township Board wishes to formally recognize the Great Lakes Christian College Crusaders women's soccer team for their 2021 NCCAA Division II National Championship and congratulate them for their exceptional achievements and to wish them continued success in the future. I so move adoption of this resolution. Is there support?
Support.
There is support. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. And congratulations.
Guarantee all of them
Podium out of the way. Pull the podium. So
they can get a good picture without all that.
Oh, yeah. Thank you guys for this. We really appreciate it. It's gonna help our college a lot. We, as a team, have fought through a lot this year, and this really just means a lot to us. So thank you guys very much. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All-American right here in Solera.
Oh.
Y'all make us proud. Thanks for coming tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Good luck on your finals.
Thank you.
Great. Good night. That's cool.
Okay, we'll continue with the agenda now. We have our agenda before us. Any additions or deletions? Not a motion to approve would be in order.
Motion to approve the agenda is presented.
Is there support?
Support.
There is support. All those in favor of approving the agenda as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Public comment for any item this evening? Anybody in the audience who'd like to speak? Xavier, come on up to the podium. Just state your name and your address for the record.
Hello. And I would like to thank Delta Township for really making this a big time metro economic community, because I've been advocating for more employment through local businesses to hire more people with autism, like Horrocks. And as soon as we open up Texas Roadhouse here across West Saginaw Highway, I would like to encourage them in their community too, and get any of your support to do so. And April Autism Month next year, we will recognize some more about this employment equality that I would like to advocate for. And talking about equality, I've been very well advocating to make sensory kits and toys around our community grow further. So if any sense we could have your fire department participate next fall, we would like to be the #1 first advocates to build more sensory beds and sensory kits inside of the fire and ambulances to allow people with autism less stress and to have more coping ability to handle when they are being touched by any sort of person like that. So like I did with police and changing the law, we are going to do such thing with our foundation, the Xavier DeGroat Autism Foundation, to help do the same thing with firefighters. And so that's how I've been making my resolution plan for 2022. And plus, if you see there the flyer dropped off, I'll be opening up an office at the Meridian Mall on February 4th. We'll have a ribbon cutting, and you're all welcome to join as well. I've talked to Dan Opsamer out there about it, and we got their support to help raise more community awareness and autism in Meridian Township too.
Great. Well, thank you for being here, Xavier. And if you have any thing as far as involving the firefighters, just reach out to our chief in the back of the room there. He'd be glad to sit down and chat with you about those types of issues.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, Xavier, for being here. Anybody else in the audience this evening would like to speak? Sure. Go ahead, Steve. You can speak now. Or you could wait if you wanted to. It's up to you on the item.
I'll just speak right now. Can you guys hear me?
We sure
Yes.
can.
Okay. All right. Sorry. I know Xavier over there. So I'm doing the same thing. Steve Jappiga, you need my address, right?
We know where to find you.
Okay, with the Lansing Regional Chamber of Commerce here. I know I sent communications to the Board of Trustees earlier today in support of the amending of the 425 agreement with Delta Township in the city of Lansing. You're going to actually hear probably a little bit more from Keith Lambert at LEAP, who really understands better than I on what exactly all of you are going to be hopefully supporting tonight. But you know, when I was talking to my boss earlier, Tim Damon, and it's I know I only have 3 minutes and probably less of that, but it's really to look back at history now of Delta Township and the city of Lansing working together. I think it was 20 some years ago. I don't want to tell you where I was at the time, but we probably all at that moment watching folks just like in your seats making history. And hopefully we'll be seeing that by the end of the year here. We'll see some history tonight, but it's important to look back at those individuals who work together, who worked across jurisdictional lines with the state, feds, everybody, because that's what it's going to take to be able to hopefully land whatever we may be able to land with the decisions you're going to be making today. And I know the city of Lansing is doing the same tonight. So with that, thank you all. I hope everybody got my name on the screen, but thank you for your support tonight for that 425 agreement. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Steve. We appreciate you being here tonight. Appreciate the work that both you and the Lansing Regional Chamber does. You add a lot of value to our region, so we really appreciate everything you guys do. Anybody else in the audience like to speak this evening? Jeremy, the chairman of the Eaton County Board of Commissioners.
If I would have known I wasn't going to be on TV, I would have showed up so I could be seen. All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Jeremy Whittam. I am the current chairman of the board for the Eaton County Board of Commissioners. I'm here for two things. I will be brief, as brief as I can be. One, a tax sharing agreement with the couple $100 million development that's being built down the road. Looked favorable at Ways and Means Committee, passed out a committee. There were about 3 or 4 language additions to the agreement. They were stated in the plan, but they weren't codified in the agreement. So depending on when we have that back from legal counsel, we'll be acting on that tomorrow night. So there's about, when we're done with that, let's just be honest here, folks. I have a trusted relationship with you as a board and all of you as individuals. That's going to be about a $300 million investment by the time the project's done. I'm here for the 425 agreement. The county doesn't have anything to do with that. The 425 agreement, the land transfer agreement's been in full force and effect for about 20 years. But this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. A once in a lifetime opportunity. I don't care where it's built, as long as it's built in the mid-Michigan region. But Delta Township, our friends and our neighbors are going to be building the main part of the next generation of vehicles that will have mid-Michigan pride throughout the world. Now, you can take the labor force in the Lansing area and compete on a fair playing field anywhere in the world. What makes Lansing, Michigan succeed, it's not the politicians that show up once a month. It's the men and women that build the cars, and they're going to be built in the cars of the future here. We are competing with the entire world for automotive and manufacturing. So I'm in a support role for you as the chairman of the board. There's nothing the county board needs to do, but if you need me, I'm here. Unless you have questions of me, I'm going to go take my seat next to Xavier.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We certainly appreciate all you do in your role, and we appreciate the work that you have put into the tax sharing agreement. I know you have played a big role in, moving that through your process,
Yes.
and we certainly appreciate that. And you're right about the comments that you said about hopefully a plant can come to our region, and that will have just tremendous benefits for all of us, for the entire region. So
1,700 jobs at the median income of $46,000. That's $78 million a year. Thank you.
thank you, sir. Anyone else in the audience would like to speak this evening before we move on? Seeing no one else moving forward, we'll move down now to the consent agenda. What's the board's preference on the consent agenda this evening? Fonda?
I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve the consent agenda as presented. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Trustee Brewer,
Yes.
trustee Cascarella,
Yes.
trustee Mohica,
Yes.
treasurer Fedor,
Yes.
clerk Flavich, yes, supervisor Fletcher,
Yes.
trustee Bowen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll move down now to the items of business, and first one up is item number 3, the 425 agreement with the city of Lansing. And the manager's office recommends that the township board approve the resolution that amends the 425 agreement upon the terms and conditions contained in the second amendment to the agreement. I will move to approve the following resolution amending the 425 agreement upon the terms and conditions contained in the second amendment to the agreement for conditional transfer of property pursuant to 1984 PA 425, the second amendment. Is there support?
Support.
There is support. This item before us is, as been mentioned, it's an agreement with the city of Lansing on jointly controlling the land that the current GM property is located on, and then also some additional 500 and some acres that is immediate adjacent to the existing Lansing Delta assembly plant. That agreement was set to expire in a couple of years, so this will extend it to December 31st, 2046. And it does make some modifications to it. It does change the revenue sharing to ultimately get to where it's an equal sharing between Delta and Lansing. There's other changes that deals with just clarifying who handles the building and site plan, building inspection, site plans approval, language on, if there's any appeals before the tax tribunal, how that is worked out, and some other minor tweaks. But it was a process that was a very smooth and friendly process and discussion with the city of Lansing. Mayor Andy Shore was tremendous to work with in this process as we work through this. And obviously, the timing of why we want to update that is to put us in the best possible position so that a very strong proposal can be made for our region to land an additional plant that would make electric vehicle batteries. So we certainly are hoping that this agreement, along with some other things that are being done, will help make sure that there's a strong package that gets presented to General Motors, and that decision will be made to choose our location. So with that, I do know that Keith Lambert from the Lansing Economic Area Partnership, who has been the organization has been very involved and instrumental in this whole process. So Keith, would you like to say a few words this evening?
Yes, I would love to. Thank you, Supervisor Fletcher. And Bob Terzice sends his regards. He's at the city of Lansing with Carl Dorschmer as well. But my name's Keith Lambert, Chief Operating Officer of LEAP. And I'd like to, typically I don't kind of go off of a script for things like this, but this is a very important moment. And I think a lot of the speech I'm going to read is really focused on kind of the big picture and how the 425 fits in. And it's the exact same remarks that are being supplied to the city of Lansing as well. So our region and state are competing with other states to land a massive project that will set the course for the region and state in a critical industry that has been an economic pillar for us for over 100 years. It is the largest economic development project in the history of our region. It is 2.5 billion, 2.5 million square feet facility that will, the EV battery plant owned by Altium, a partnership between General Motors and LG Energy Solution, which is a subsidiary of LG Chem. It is proposed to be built on a 590-acre parcel adjacent to the GM Lansing Delta Assembly Plant. The site is currently in the 425 agreement between the city of Lansing and Delta Township, but that agreement is set to expire in 2025, which would be a major revenue loss for both the city and the township. The project promises very good paying jobs of all varieties. You already heard a little bit about that. Starting in 2025 and by 2029, 1,700 jobs would be in this region if we were successful in landing this project. If we were selected, construction would also begin in the next quarter, first quarter of 2022. From LEAP's perspective, we strategized for a year to land an EV battery plant with a failed attempt almost exactly 1 year ago when Tennessee won over us. During this last year, we worried assembly plants without a nearby EV battery assembly plant will be at risk at some point into the future as we switch from internal combustion engines to electric vehicles, which almost every OEM in the world is going through right now. As you may be aware, GM has already announced 2 EV battery plants, one in Ohio and one in Tennessee, the one I just mentioned. Ford shocked the world, announcing over $11 billion in 2 EV plants in Kentucky and Tennessee just a few months ago, and not in Michigan. And just last week, Toyota announced a new EV plant in North Carolina. These are not just plant announcements, but declarations shaping the future of the automotive industry itself. Our competition and the stakes are clear to LEAP. Every one of those states offered massive incentives to win these mega projects, at least $500 million in value. Every single one of them. Multiple critical bills have passed the State House and Senate and are crucial to this overall package. LEAP has been deeply involved in their passage. Governor Whitmer, who has been very directly involved with this entire proposal, is to be congratulated and thanked for her leadership, as well as Democrats and Republicans in support of these bipartisan bills. We can gain much as a community and state with this project. This project represents a secure electric car making future for our region and state, along with potential chip making, high-tech suppliers that come along and build next to this technology foundation that we would be building with this project. With the 1,700 permanent jobs, along with thousands of construction jobs in the next 3 years, and the 1,700 permanent jobs to follow, the multiplier impact on our region will be substantial. If we wish to increase population, disposable income for people, new spending and customers for our small businesses, to fill schools and neighborhoods with people, this is the most impactful pathway in order to do that and for the betterment of our overall community. But without this project and your approval today, we must consider what we will not only gain, but potentially lose. LEAP believes that in the long run, if our region were to not have a major EV plant, our car assembly plants and the many auto supplier jobs would be at risk. This would impact directly at least 10,000 employees in our region and a huge chunk of our manufacturing sector. And then there's a big tax hit that would be associated with that as well. A lot of indirect economic loss to the retail sector, to the service sector, that the manufacturing sector really helps support with that multiplier effect. We are asking Lansing, Delta Township, and the Lansing Board of Water and Light to help our community put together the required and necessary regional package to land this project. LEAP will deliver that package this Wednesday morning to the company of the decision makers, and the state will hopefully have its own package to deliver that complements ours. An amended 425 agreement will continue the revenue sharing to Delta and Lansing for another 25 years, and also provide for a renewable energy renaissance zone designation for 18 years and a Public Act 198 IFT abatement for the maximum 12-year term, also including 2 years for construction. Additionally, a nationally competitive electric rate is a must from the Lansing Board of Water and Light. These 4 regional pieces will anchor our regional package, and in addition to a number of workforce development incentives and support programs, will make us very competitive with other states in our view. Each of these 4 items must be approved or the package will not be complete and will not compete. We are all in this together. Today, as we speak, Lansing City Council and tomorrow, the Board of Water and Light's Board of Commissioners are all seeing this proposed package and being asked now to approve their respective pieces of it all at one time. Once the total package regionally and from the state are hopefully approved, our total package will be compared and scrutinized by Altium against competitors. A final decision will be made and the winner will be announced very soon. Unapproved and incomplete incentive packages will not be considered as part of the selection process by Altium. So today, together, we are building on the shoulders of the greats of the past from our region who put together our Retain, Keep GM effort 20 years ago, which was spoken to a little bit earlier, and show the world how to make history, build partnerships, think regionally in a globally competitive market, and build a prosperous future by winning transformative and rare key facilities like this one. I think everyone in our region would agree that our lives would be totally different today without these efforts in the past. We wouldn't be here talking about this, for instance. With this next phase of economic development, we have a chance to make history once again and shape a future. With this request, we honor Lansing Mayor Hollister, the late Delta Township Supervisor Joe Drillette, Lansing Township Supervisor John Daher, the late Keep GM Chair Jack Davis, a good friend and mentor to me, the council and trustees from that era as well. Now it is our turn for this generation, and we build on their shoulders just as someday the next generation will build anew on ours. If today we act decisively together. In that light, while LEAP has been honored to lead this regional effort, we wish to acknowledge the unbelievable leadership of Lansing Mayor Short, Delta Township Supervisor Ken Fletcher, and Lansing Board of Wire and Light CEO Dick Peffley, as well as the superb and crucial personal leadership of Governor Gretchen Whitmer and the MEDC CEO Quentin Messer. Of course, Jim Schmerka, his team, Bob Trezise and Carl Dorschmer on our LEAP team, Ken Fletcher and his team, Brian Reed and others, the MEDC team, especially Stacy Bowerman, could not say enough great things about everyone that was involved in this process. And we thank the leadership of both political parties in the State House and Senate, who are also playing a crucial role for us in winning this transformative project of the future. And it's huge, huge for the state of Michigan as well. This is a true old-fashioned bipartisan moment, which seemingly becomes rarer and rarer as you get up to the state and federal level. So it's wonderful to see when our state can really show the world that we're not only still around, but that Michigan and Lansing are a giant of the global and national future. Our regional team has been meeting regularly and working night and day, hour to hour, since a week before Thanksgiving, when we were informed that we had an opportunity to bid on this project. We were given until December to put our approved proposal on the table for consideration. This industry, rightfully so, is competitively cannot wait for us or other states and regions. They are not hesitating. They are moving forward. We have been given this particular window to execute. We cannot do anything about that timing. We moved as fast as we could and have been as transparent as possible and disclosing as much as possible in order to get this right, but today is the day. In conclusion, this isn't just about a plant or any one particular business. This is a moment when we are partnering not only to retain a whole industry in our backyard, but to be one of the few in the world to bridge that into a long, prosperous future for our people. We have been home to pioneers putting the world on wheels since Ransom Eli Olds in the late 1800s. This decision tonight is about securing our region's role as future mobility pioneers for decades to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. We definitely appreciate you being here this evening to support the agreement. But as I started with my comments, we appreciate the work that LEAP has done, not only on this project, but on all the economic development work that LEAP does for our region. It really has played a huge, huge role in every project that has come along. Or I'm forgetting how long LEAP has existed now, but well over, I think, at least 15 years or more. The way that you're able to bring everybody together, both the public and private sector, to really work on how do we move this region forward together really has been a huge benefit. That's why we're a proud member and remaining proud member of LEAP. And we certainly appreciate you playing the role that you are in this specific project, since it potentially would be located here in our township. So
yeah, this has been a deep and powerful public-private partnership. And we thank Delta Township and all of your leadership and support. And hopefully those remarks were able to provide a broader context. It's not just a 425 agreement. It's not just one proposal, one amendment, but it's really a critical piece of a large and complex puzzle that's been evolving over the last month or so.
Absolutely. Well, great. Well,
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Any discussion from the board here before we? No comments? Okay, well, Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll on the resolution?
Supervisor Fletcher.
Yes.
Treasurer Fedor.
Yes.
Trustee Mohica.
Yes.
Trustee Cascarella.
Yes.
Trustee Brewer.
Yes.
Trustee Bowen.
Yes.
Clerk Clark is yes, motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Move down to item number 4, the Delta Mills Pickleball Court Maintenance, and the Parks and Rec Department recommends that the board approves a sole source purchase for the repair of the courts from Floor Care Concepts in the amount of $110,200. Marcus, did you want to talk about the sole source issue at all?
Thank you, Supervisor Fletcher and board. As the board memo says, we spent the last few years trying to find a good solution to our courts. As we know, in this neck of the woods, tennis courts and pickleball courts go through a lot of challenges, a lot of crack and dead spots and so on. When we installed the courts, didn't have much luck continuing that relationship with the contractor, as I think they went out of business. But our research has shown, this is only the best thing that's out there, but probably the only thing that's out there. So after research and visiting a few places, I think I touched on those in the memos. We're certainly proud, honored, and I'm sure there's 200 million pickleball players in Delta Townships that are appreciative that we are here tonight recommending this to the board.
Great. Does anybody have any questions of Marcus? Andrew, the next.
Yeah, and not really a question, just a comment, Marcus. I want to thank you for all of your work. I know I've heard from a number of our residents who are very avid pickleball players and appreciate our investment in the courts and have just been frustrated because of the challenges that with the drainage and that. So appreciate all your work communicating with residents in the community about solutions and really coming up with one that will serve us all well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Marcus, given the enthusiasm and passion of our resident pickleball aficionados, how long will this keep them happy for? And what would be the next steps that they would like to see?
Well, hopefully, you know, the parks director here at the time that the challenges start to come up, but it's, you know, there's no guarantees, but this is proven and been talked about providing a solution for up to 30 years. Now, granted, there is some maintenance from year to, well, not year to year, but maybe every 5 or so years. But I like the fact that it's been tried and tested up in the UP. And I think if it can survive there and get the type of feedback we got from those folks, we feel really good about it.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
How long is the pickleball season in the UP? Like 2 months?
Actually, it's tennis. It's tennis, you know, where this was. And some of the comments from the coach there is like some of her players don't like the surface because that means they have to practice even when the weather's not great because it holds up so well.
Any other questions for Marcus?
Not a question, but just a comment along the lines of what we've heard. I want to thank you, Marcus, for bringing this proposal. I think it's a great idea. You definitely have my support. And just the time that you take, I don't know that people realize how much time you spend with the pickleballers on listening to their concerns and suggestions and trying to find ways to go from great to greater. You've opened your door. I've had meetings with you and residents over pickleball. I've never even played it. I don't know even how it works, but it's very important. And it's something that keeps our seniors active. So anything we can do to make this a vibrant place for our seniors and families are now enjoying it as well. So I really appreciate the time and the research you did. I read through the proposal and it was very well laid out with references and experiences. And I appreciate you answering my questions earlier today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's nothing else, would somebody like to make a motion?
I move that the Delta Township Board approves the sole source purchase for the repair of the Delta Mills pickleball courts from Floor Care Concepts of Wyoming, Michigan, in the amount of $110,200. I further move that the township manager be authorized and directed to sign the purchase authorization forms. Support.
There is support. Any discussion? See none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Marcus.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Next up is item number 5, approval of a request to deviate from our investment policy, and the accounting department is making this recommendation. Courtney, do you want to explain what is being asked of us today?
Good evening. Yeah, this is the least exciting item on the agenda, clearly. Basically, it's just a small deviation from our investment policy to allow us to participate in what's hopefully a little bit more lucrative investment vehicle. Still considered short-term, but not so short-term that the net asset value will remain at $1. It might fluctuate from that a little bit, which is technically not permitted by the strict terms of our investment policy. So Michigan Class brought this idea to us. They're opening this up for their clients. And because of just the very, just beyond challenging rates we're seeing, it's just another option that I'd like to try. I don't think it's worth changing the whole policy. This is kind of a niche area for them. So I just thought the deviation would allow us to participate. They're opening it up actually next week. It'll allow us to put sort of our not long-term money, not super short-term, or kind of our medium stay money in something that might have a hope of producing more. I mean, the very, very short-term investment we have with them now, $15 million, is earning like $300 a month. It's just very sad. So this will allow us to, hopefully see a little bit more of an investment return on that. So.
Any questions? Andrea?
I know you can't make any predictions, but can you give a sense of what you're hoping returns may be?
Yeah, so from a basis point perspective, right now, let's say we're getting about 3, which is just, and it might be, let's say, I think Jeff's, our class representative, Jeff Anderson, felt like it might get to 18,
Okay,
you know, so it's at least getting us somewhere.
great, thank you.
But Courtney, you said this is really short term.
So
turnover.
it'll be over 60-day
Yeah,
type of investment.
right,
yeah.
okay. And what is the amount that you think you'd be depositing into and withdrawing on?
So right now in class, there's about $15 million in that. I'm gonna pull $1 million out for the fire truck purchase that we're making. So I probably 9 or 10.
Okay,
9 or 10 million of it I would transfer over, because it's still accessible.
right.
It's, you know, you just have a week instead of a day.
Yeah.
You know, it's not something where it's tied up, you know, our inside portfolio is definitely more long-term. That does, you know, that has more fluctuating fair value.
Right, thank you.
Any final questions?
Yeah, Courtney, and what would you say the risk, are there risk low, medium, high with this investment?
Yeah, it's very low in this investment. Even in our long-term investment in Insight, we do have some fair value risk because they do rate the bonds that we own on a fair value, but we don't sell them at the point. They're long-term holds, right? So we may see some fair value fluctuation, but not actual cash fluctuation. So it's a very low risk in this. We're only allowed to really invest in things that are low risk. This just
That's
is a
good to
way.
know.
Yeah, very low. You know, we can't, the only thing that can go in the stock market is, you know, pension, OPEB funds. Our reserve funds can't, you know, it's bonds, it's treasuries, it's, you know, it's municipal bonds. It's very limited in what we can actually invest in, even in our long-term portfolio.
Thank you.
Other questions? Beth?
I'd just like to say thank you, Courtney, for keeping on top of these investment opportunities, looking out for the township. You know, you're completing your first year as our finance director, and, you know, I think this is a real feather in your cap that you are keeping on top of these things in this market that has such low rates. And thank you very much for this.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Dennis?
Yeah, I move that the Delta Township Board approve the deviation from the investment policy to allow for the township's participation in the Michigan Class Edge.
Support.
There is support. Any additional discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Courtney. Managers report. Brian, what do you have for us this evening?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and board members. I just, I've been getting text updates, and so I have good news to report that Lansing Community College approved their tax sharing agreement at their meeting tonight. So that's 1 out of 3. As Chairman Whittam mentioned, they have been working with John Fuentes on some final language cleanup for the county. So just before this meeting, I think we have a final draft that'll go to the county on Wednesday night. So hopefully that will go equally as well. And I expect the library to be following suit here soon this month. It's a couple dates just for openings coming up. Texas Roadhouse under construction now is expected to open March 2022. BJ's Wholesale Warehouse is expected to open January 27th. So that's coming right up. And then At Home, which will start construction here pretty soon, is scheduled to open in October 2022. Colin Mays, our Economic Development Director, is heading up a school supply drive January 3rd through the 10th. So people can donate supplies and drop them off in the library. And I believe those will be split equally between Grand Ledge and Waverly. I just want to thank Alana for pulling together the soccer team for that resolution in quick order after last week. So it's a very nice presentation and a nice honor for them. They were very appreciative. So.
Andrea?
Brian, yeah, on the school supply drive, and Colin, maybe you can answer, but is there a list of supplies, and can that be shared with the board just so we know what is being sought for that?
I'll let Colin answer
And
that.
I don't know what the deadline is for donations.
Yes, trustee. So we have a, hey, copy, wait till you get to the back here. Yes, trustee, we have a flyer, so I can make sure that you receive that, or Brian will send it to you.
Okay.
And the donation is from January 3rd all the way through the 10th. So we have an entire week to get your items to the library.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you for sharing that.
That's all I have, Mr. Supervisor, but happy to entertain any questions.
Any other questions for Brian? Oh, Beth?
Any updates on the weapons that were stolen from the shooting range? Other than what I just read in the paper. Has your office heard anything?
I do not have a specific update, but I will get one from you. I have not had anything in the last couple of days, but I will send out an update as soon as I get something from the sheriff's department.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Any other questions? Okay, great. Thanks, Brian. We have no items for our committee of the whole, so any final board comments before we take final public comment?
Supervisor Fletcher.
Yes.
I would let Mr. Japinga know that I was standing in your shoes, speaking in favor of the original GM project when it was going on, so I'm old.
That's awesome.
That was before I was born.
Well, just for fun, Steve, you could tell us how old you were 20 years ago. You don't have to say that. We figured that. Well, any final public comment? Anybody in the audience like to speak at anything? Seeing nobody coming forward and having completed our agenda, we are adjourned.